Welcome to Phoenix Rising, Flight to Success, the podcast that takes you on a journey through stories of triumph, growth, and achievement within Lenoir County Early College High School. Join us as we explore the soaring spirit of our Phoenix community, where students, educators, and alumni spread their wings and share how they are reaching new heights.
And welcome back to the episode number 15. It's 15.
That's wild.
Actually, I think this is, it's 15. And we've been doing this since last semester. Today, we have some special guests. I've got my sidekick, Mr. Greene.
Hey.
He is our college liaison. And then we have two students. They are juniors. Sorry,
Yeah.
They were my sophomores last year and my juniors this year. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about them. And then we'll kind of talk about how this conversation and this podcast got started. So, Josue, why don't you take us away?
Hello, my name is Josue Garcia-Lopez. I'm a junior and currently on the path of Associates of Arts for Business Administration.
Cool, business administration.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide that pathway?
Just something that interested me, economics. And
You mean the economics that I teach? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't make him interested in that. He was already interested in that.
Yeah.
All right. And how about you, Jocelyn?
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Morales. I'm a junior, and I am currently on an Associates in Arts to Psychology.
All right. So psychology, is there a reason why you started that pathway?
Well, the District C experience, that it's triggered that, and then from there, I was kind of able to have a better understanding of what I wanted to go into. But recently, I started getting an interest into neuropsychology.
Okay. So you mentioned District C, and you and I both have been a part of that. Just make sure we tell our listeners what that involves, because it's a really neat program. And we've had it in the past 2 summers at the LCPS. It has been one of our summer programs, our accelerated programs. And so you were part of the District C program 2 years ago, and then you came back to that. So tell us just maybe a little bit quickly about that program so others might understand it.
So District C is a program where students they come together and solve other businesses' problems. These businesses will come to these students, and they'll give like a list of stuff that they have.
It's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
They're actually having to solve a problem, a real world problem, and so you're learning skills and tools in order to not only handle that problem but work together as a team, because you don't know each other when you came. And you're
Different schools, different opportunities that they've had, experiences, and we're all just like trying to work together and solve their problems.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool because at the end you have a pitch event and you meet with the business partner, they call them, and then you say, hey, here's a solution that we think might work for you that they might not have even thought of. So it's really kind of a neat program. So our listeners, if you're ever interested and you hear District C come out, take a chance on it, because I think you guys would really enjoy it. They have got a new, it's called the NC Spark that they're working with. It's kind of a cool program. It's something I'd like to see us maybe get involved in later on, Mr. Greene. But the real reason for bringing us to today is I brought to Mr. Greene kind of a conversation that Josue and I were having about preparation of did I actually prepare you in your college, your high school classes for what's on the college side? And Josue looked at me and said, not really. And I was like, okay, well.
That's interesting, though.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I mean, Josue, these are things that we want to hear. These are things that are going to improve other students and their experience. So, we want you guys to come to us with these conversations. We want to know specifically kind of what would have helped you out more. What are things that maybe you think we should really be pushing a little bit more? So, yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys have.
So I'm going to let you guys kind of take it over, and maybe the start of the conversation that we had is, okay, so why do you feel that maybe there was a lack of preparation for you guys on the college side?
Well, first of all, it's not more like not really. y'all did a great job at talking about it, like the different challenges we would face, but it's not. But it wasn't until like you actually come into contact, you actually experience it. That's like, wow.
So what is one of the things that you were like blown away with? I've heard about this, but this is now I'm experiencing it.
Time management. The fact that it's up to you now to manage your time. There's no teacher to tell you, hey, you have to do this by this, or to remind you to do something. It's more like it's on you. If you forget, you forget. And
Okay, what
those
about
are
you?
consequences you have to face.
Yeah, Jocelyn.
I mean, yeah, I kind of pick off after that because I know I can procrastinate a lot, and I have a lot of things that I have to do at home along with school. So it's like being able to balance both life at home and school. So that's kind of my.
It's a transition from the adulting world to the kid world and back and forth and you're learning this, right? And I kind of have the Dr. T rants as I call them because a lot of times people say, oh, this is the easiest you'll ever have it in your life, and I'm like, no. This is the toughest they're ever going to have it in that moment because they've never experienced anything different, right? And so when you experience something for the first time, it feels the toughest you're ever going to have it. And then the next challenge and the next obstacle that you're facing, it kind of feels the same. So what are some other things and maybe some recommendations to Mr. Greene and myself that we can maybe not just talk about, but help you experience? You guys have some thoughts on that?
I feel like maybe like trying to incorporate more hands-on experience because like my first year we had Art 111, but that was like that was online and it was with you.
Yeah.
So and it was between all of us. So we didn't really get to experience that full college experience, what it's like to be in a class. Cause we had like you dictating what we were supposed to do and.
So just being in the college classroom, you think that's an experience that students need a little bit earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think that would be beneficial to students? Do you think it would make them more comfortable with asking instructors for help? Do you think? Go ahead.
Definitely. Yeah. Like me personally, I wasn't able to start college classes in like
as a freshman,
year.
sophomore. Okay.
Yeah, like he was. So I kind of had to make that jump. Whereas he kind of had like that little bit of transition. Yeah. And I think being able to make that like easy transition, it kind of makes it easier to cope with it.
Absolutely. So as far as work submitting things, what are some of the differences between high school side and college side?
Definitely like the
lack of someone in your ear telling you have to do this. It's more like up to you. Okay. And then, like in high school, if you're just like trudging along, just doing things as you go, not really focusing, not really disciplining yourself to like do the work, it can be difficult to cope once you get to college because now it's on you.
Okay, go ahead.
So what are some ways that you might encourage the sophomore and freshman class to kind of think through what would your self now tell your previous self in the classroom that would be might be different than Mr. Greene or I might say to you?
Don't procrastinate.
Well, that sounds a lot.
Don't put off time to like learn the skills now so you don't feel sorry later.
Okay.
Take things seriously because it's everything that you're doing at that time. It's gonna be worth something in the future. So, I mean, I know that. I think one of y'all had told me that, or maybe both. But
that sounds an awful like both of our rants.
Yeah, but definitely take things a lot more seriously. Be aware of all possible things that might happen because it's not going to go exactly how you thought it was. So yeah, that's my.
So what are some positives? All right, we just talked about the negatives, but are there some positives for being in this new environment, this new way of having to do life, having to do college?
I'd say the independence for me. Okay. I mean, at first it's like a negative because you're all alone. Like just you, so it takes a while to get used to it. But once you get used to it, like being by yourself, like making new friends, new friendships on the college side, it gets a lot easier, and it eventually becomes a lot more fun.
Okay.
My answer is fairly similar to his. Definitely the independence and making new friends, and then it's like the different like the change of scenery as well, because you're getting used to like these classrooms, and then you go and like the class, it's more open, I guess you can say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and I think one of the things that Mr. Greene and I both we struggle with is we can say it till we're blue in the face and all day long, but it's really, unless you experience it, it doesn't stick. And so I think one of the things that we always think about from our perspective is how to make it real to the student, and instead of just throwing students in and say sink or swim, and we obviously don't want you to sink,
right.
But sometimes floundering can be some of the most the best way. I don't know, Greene.
There are instances where kind of diving in head first, you tread water for a little while, but then you realize, oh, I'm okay. I'm not nearly as far behind as I thought. The things that they were telling me, the things that they had us working on, it really is beneficial. And I think that once you get to that point, you kind of recall some of those things. Because like Josue said, you don't really experience it until you experience it. You can't do things that you don't know. But just in that moment, you start to recall, okay, Dr. T, he had this rant this day, told me that a day like this is going to come. Mr. Greene told me a day like this would come. And I think that you guys do revert back to some of those things and remember some of those things. But I've got a question. So as far as the 8-week classes, did either of you have an 8-week class?
Yeah. All my classes first semester were 8 weeks.
So you had multiple 8-week classes? All right. So how did you like that, Josue?
Honestly, I liked it. I mean, I didn't feel too bad because it was just 2 classes per 8 weeks.
Okay, so that's something else that we had to figure out as far as advising was 8-week classes versus 16-week classes. That's something that you figured out on your own as far as what your learning style is. How does that play into your long-term plans as far as planning classes 8 versus 16, online versus in person? What's your thought process with that?
Well, for me, it's more about the subject. If it's something like science or math, I know I'm going to need those extra 8 weeks to get all the information in. Like right now, I'm taking biology. I scheduled that for 16 weeks because I know I'm not going to learn all that stuff in 8 weeks.
Okay. All right. What about you, Jocelyn?
I would say I can say that I did have some 8-week classes. I do currently have 8-week classes as well, but like.
Yeah, you personally, I mean, what's your learning style? It's all about you, Jocelyn. That's one thing we pride ourselves on. We want students to have an individualized plan. So if you're the type of person, I want 16 weeks, everything online. What's your thought process?
Well, I think personally, I do like to learn things a little quicker. I like things fast-paced, but when it comes to a 16-week course, which I have Spanish in currently, I felt like I did need a little more time on because it's a new language.
Okay.
I mean, it's something I've been surrounded by, but I know that just being able to speak it is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But I think for other people, if their learning styles are a little slower, then definitely take the 16-week courses, or if they know something is going to be more difficult, they should.
So you mentioned, Mr. Greene, a quote, and I don't know if you guys remember me saying this last year. You don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that what really is some of the things that we struggle with for anybody is you just don't know until you experience it. And so what are the things that, as we kind of wrap up this discussion, what are the things that you really would like to say to a new generation of students that coming in next year? Okay, here are the top 3 things that you really need to make sure that you are aware of. Now, you might not do it well until you actually get into it, but here is what you're going to kick yourself for if you don't do.
3 things each?
Yeah, sure.
To play around. I mean, don't playing around, but like, I mean,
so make sure listeners go ahead and play around and do whatever you want to.
No, but try everything your first year. Don't be scared. Talk to Green, talk to Santaman, talk to everybody. Try to learn as much as you can about the college experience, the high school experience. What are your options? What you want? Learn as much about yourself and what you want to do, because that's a mistake I made my first year. I didn't think about like what I wanted to study, what classes I would need, all that. It wasn't until like the end of sophomore year I'm like, oh shoot, it's happening. This actually matters.
That was
great
great.
advice.
It was. That was a great bit.
Now, last year, Mr. Green actually came into the economics and personal finance class, and he talked a lot about the career stuff. Did that help at least think through some of the career options that you guys might be looking at?
Oh, for sure. Like getting to look at the website, like comparing different stats, like salary, the years it would take, what you need, like a bachelor's or a master's. In my case, a bachelor or a master's doesn't really matter. You still make around the same amount of money.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, those are key stuff. So don't not ask questions. Don't be willing to take advantage of all the opportunities. Okay. What else? Maybe Jocelyn will throw it out to you.
Like personally, okay. So I would say that I know that I did make a lot of mistakes. So I know that I did think that everything was going to be boring and that, like I had to do everything seriously. But yes, you have to make serious decisions and take things seriously. But you can also have like fun doing it, like, and not being afraid to actually collaborate with other students as well. I know I had a hard time my first year, like getting to know everybody and understand my surroundings. So I think that's another thing. Like, don't be afraid to meet new people and have fun.
Okay. All right. Good advice. What else?
Don't procrastinate.
So time management.
Yeah, procrastinate. The sooner you get rid of that little, I guess, monster in you, the kid in you.
So why is that such a big part? I mean, we all hear the time, don't procrastinate, but what does that really mean? Because I need my own time to enjoy life too. So what does that really mean to you?
Make priorities straight. Like, make sure that things that need to be done are done before, and then you can go ahead and take your time on other activities that are less important. So
set priorities.
Yeah.
And Green, I think we talked about this before about turning in light work, because that's a big deal on the college side. And sometimes the high school teachers, we give a lot of extra time to turn in stuff, and that's not necessarily the case on the college side, is it?
Oh yeah, they're very strict. Very. Like my teacher, she's like, I am not accepting late work. Basically just all that stuff. And then like she'll have extra credit, but it's kind of
it doesn't do all. If you miss an assignment, then that hurts.
Yeah, it only does like a fraction of what you're supposed to do. So you have to keep going and doing the thing until you're able to obtain enough points to count off that assignment.
You're saying it's better to do it right the first time.
Yeah, way better to do it right the first time instead of just trying over and over again.
Okay. What about you, Josue? You I cut you off on that, but keep going on that. What do you mean?
For me, procrastination is like, it's basically like, for me, it's a source of stress, anxiety. Like, if I know I have something to do, I'm not going to be able to relax unless I get it done. Okay. That's going to deal with me.
So it's a different personality thing too.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a different thing. So final thoughts. I'm going to actually give you a final thought, Mr. Green. Okay. What would you share from your side of the house that you see that these sophomores that are going into the junior side? I mean, we're in the next few weeks. We're going to be done with the second semester. Yeah. I mean, it's going to come up quick. And so they're going to be taking high school or college classes in the summer and then further on. So what would you tell them, final thoughts?
Final thoughts for my upcoming juniors. Kind of like Jocelyn said, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. One of the things that I see students, they won't know something and they won't ask for help. They won't ask a classmate. They won't ask an instructor. We're all here to help you guys. We don't know that you need help if you don't ask us. The second thing, build a routine. I'm the type of person, I need a routine. I need a schedule. I need to know exactly what I'm doing at 9:57 on a Tuesday. some of you students need to do the same, because you go to school from 8 to 3 for your entire lives, the last 13 years almost. And then someone tells you only have to go to school twice a week for 2 hours. A lot of students see that in between time as free time, where you do still need to dedicate some time to your studies. Now, I'm not telling you that has to be between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. If you know that you work better at night and you know that your prime hours are from 10:30 p.m. until 2 a.m., just make sure that you're consistent with that 10:30 to 2 a.m. every time, because I think that having that schedule, having that routine, it'll help you to get the work done more fluently, and then you'll start to find yourself getting the work done quicker and more efficiently.
That's just fantastic advice. Thank you for that. And I think that's going to be it for today's podcast. So on behalf of the Lenoir County Early College High School, we would like to thank you for soaring with us on the Phoenix Rising Flight to Success podcast. We encourage you to check out more of our episodes online. And remember, rising from the ashes like a phoenix is not just a metaphor. It's a way of life. So stay Phoenix strong.